I'll call to order the March Finance Committee meeting. Before we get to the published agenda, there are two personal items I would like to take care of first, and I'll turn to the city manager first. Mr. Garrity.
Good evening, Chairman Clark, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, Mayor Joines, members of the Finance Committee, and the rest of the City Council. We had some very sad news today. Tanya McFadder, was the senior administrative clerk in the clerk's office. She passed away this morning. She's been ill for the last few months. Very sad. She's been with the city for 7 years, I believe, in the clerk's office. Prior to that, in the human relations office. And we will miss her smile and her dedication to the city.
If we could have a moment of silence for her, please. Thank you. Secondly, there has been a lot in the news lately about the biking industry, and that's B-A-N-K-I-N-G. Sometimes my southern accent doesn't come through well on that word. I've asked Ms. Kelly Latham, who is our Chief Financial Officer of the city, to comment on our banking relationships and our cash management. So, Ms. Latham, you have the floor.
Good evening, Chair Clark, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of City Council. The State Treasurer actually made a statement today that they are closely monitoring the 36 banks that are regulated here within the state, but that those banks here in the state do not have the same amount of unsecured deposits as those troubled banks that failed last week. And our local banks in North Carolina are much more diversified. We do have FDIC coverage, but as you've been reading in the news, that is limited. However, in North Carolina, all public funds are required to be collateralized. Basically, all the banks that we deal with must provide extra security to show that they have the assets to back up our deposits. And this is monitored by the state treasurer. They have to actually fill out paperwork that shows they have these assets. They have to sign a paperwork that gives the state treasurer a lien. And they have to report quarterly on the adequacy of the security or collateral that they're holding that backs up the city's deposits.
Thank you. So all city funds held in banks are personally collateralized by the bank, and it's overseen by the state treasurer.
That's correct. There are two different methods. So it's pooled. It's pooled with all the other public funds. So it's not specifically collateralized. That would be a different method, but it is collateralized in total.
That's what I mean, in total. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. As usual, we will begin with the consent agenda. The mayor has asked for C1 to be pulled. Mr. McIntosh has asked for C6. I'm asking for C10. Are there any others anyone would like pulled?
I move for the balance of the agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to approve the balance of the agenda. If you would please vote when it comes up. Those are approved. Thank you very much. We will begin with C1. If the city clerk will please read this.
Item C1, resolution awarding purchase order for automatic leaf loaders.
Mr. Taylor, can you give us a 2-second on this one?
Good afternoon, Mayor Joines, Chairman Clark, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, other members of the committee and council.
Good afternoon.
The agenda item that we have here are referring to automated leaf collection loaders. These are a different type of loader versus what we have been purchasing for the last 10, 11 years. Simply replacements for two loaders. One is a 2011 model, and the other one is 2014. So we will actually add these particular leaf loaders into our new leaf plan. And of course, because they are manufactured different, they should be less labor intensive for our fleet technicians, which should allow us more uptime, less downtime, coupled with the fact that they will be brand new. So I have already visited a city that actually utilizes the equipment. I've done some time motion studies on how effective they are with dealing with leaf piles, and they appear to be a very good choice.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Taylor, I just want to say hallelujah. I know you're as thrilled as we are to get this two new pieces of equipment to add to our repertoire, and I'm sure it will speed things up next year. So thank you so much for your good work on pulling this together.
Yes, sir.
And when will we take delivery of them?
We are scheduled to take delivery prior to the upcoming leaf season. That is this year.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion on C1? please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second on C1. If everybody please vote when it comes up. That is approved. We will now go to C6. If the clerk will please read this.
Item C6, resolution awarding contract for mowing services.
Mr. McIntosh.
Yeah, can I ask Ms. Poplawski a question? So I know you and I have talked about this before. I was wondering if staff could bring a report to Public Works at some time going forward. Doesn't have to be right away, but just talk about strategies of how we can reduce the amount of mowing that we do. You know, we've talked about local drought-resistant plants. You know, if we can do that once and not have to come back and mow, can I just see sort of, you know, what our options are and then maybe figure out how to actually put that into place?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve C6. Have a second. Have a second. Thank you very much. Please vote when it comes up. That is approved. Thank you very much. C10.
Item C10, resolution awarding contract for the Kimberly Park hydroponic farm management.
This was discussed at Finance. I'm having it pulled just so it's voted on separately. Are there any questions at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion is second on C10. If the committee please vote. This came through general government yesterday. Thank you very much. That is approved, and that's all for consent. We will now go to the general agenda. City Clerk will please read G1.
Item G1, resolution approving amendments to the Civitan lease and use agreements with Winston-Salem State University located in the East Ward.
I thought we were going to pull this.
Yes, sir, Chairman Clark.
Okay, so without objection, we will leave this in committee. Thank you very much. We'll now go to G2.
Item G2, resolution accepting an American Rescue Plan Act grant for the Highway 65 Waterline Extension Project.
Good afternoon, Chair, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, members of the committee. This is a partnership between Winston-Salem, Forsyth County Utilities, and Forsyth County to extend water along Highway 65 from Rural Hall to Germantown. It will be approximately 2.5 miles of 8-inch water line, and the city of Winston-Salem received ARPA funds, so American Rescue Plan Act funds, in the amount of $3.1 million for the construction of the water line. And so this resolution is just to accept those monies, that fund.
We're the pass-through organization.
That is correct.
Okay. Because I don't believe this is in the city, is it?
It is not in the city.
I didn't think so. It's in the
It's an
county.
unincorporated Forsyth County.
Unincorporated, excuse me.
Move for approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second on G2. If everybody please vote when it comes up.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a comment.
Y'all go right ahead.
I think what we're going to start to see in the future with the issues of great drinking water, water systems that we've been seeing all over the country and even here in our area, people will want to start tying in to a system that's regulated by, government or utilities. Back in the day, the well system was the way to go because we were rural. And you had a lot of people that were even annexed into the city that still have wells or had wells. But right now, I think with the Infrastructure Act and monies, we're going to start to see a lot of other people in the area want to come online with good utility systems, particularly the water, and even every day, like today, the EPA came out about chemicals in the water systems all over the country, the things that we thought, the polyfluorides for years, that this is how we prevent cavities and things like that. And now we're finding that it's a health risk to all of us. So along with the removal of the old leaded pipes and things like that, with the infrastructure money, we're going to have an opportunity, hopefully, to replace it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We will now go to G3. If the clerk will please read this one.
Item G3, resolution awarding construction contract with Lakeview Drive Bridge replacement located in the North Ward.
Mr. King, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Chair Clark, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, Mayor Joines, council members. I think it goes without saying, you guys have heard about the Lakeview Bridge for a while. It has been out. That's right. It's been out. It's been closed for a while. This is in the Lake Hills neighborhood. Head out Renolda Road like you're going out of town. Turn right on Bethania and then right onto Lakeview to kind of get you in the ballpark. The bridge has been out of service for a while. It's caused some challenges for the neighborhood. This is an item to award the construction contract for the replacement of that bridge to Smith Road in the amount of $1.1 million. I know we have some representatives from the neighborhood here today. I believe Jody Phillips of Smith Row is here today. Should you have any questions for him? And I'm glad to answer any questions as well.
Any questions for Mr. King?
No questions, Chair, but I do want to give Ms. Lois Wade a chance to make a comment or two, since she's been very diligent over the years about the Lakeview Bridge.
Come on up.
She's one of those community advocates that will wear you down.
This is
Please
one
give
of
your-
my.
In a good way.
This is one of my happiest days in 3 years.
Give your name and address for the record,
This is
please.
finally going to come to fruition. I speak for the entire community when I thank you for all the work you've put in and your support, Ms. Adams, and others on this committee. And we are going to be out there with a bottle of champagne the day we see those
told them
tractors come
that
to
you
tear the
would.
bridge down. So thank you very much.
What's your name and address,
Yeah, please
Lois?
give your name and address for the
For the record.
Lois Rowe Wade, 3835 Lakeview Drive, Goffstown.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lois.
And Chair, I'd also like to hear from the contractor for a couple of comments to hopefully continue to reassure or to assure the residents that they're coming. And thank you.
If you'll give your name and address for the record too, please.
Yeah, my name's Jody Phillips. I'm the Vice President of Smith Row. Yeah, I live in Mount Airy. I'm open for any questions you may have. We're honored and ready to assist the city with this project. We did a project comparable to this on Novak Street. It went very well, and we understand that timing is of the issue. We've already reached out to our suppliers and vendors to get some hardcore dates for precast products and things that would normally maybe cause a little hiccup in the project. So if you guys have any questions
When
or
do you
comments.
think it would be finished by?
December this year.
Okay, end of the year then.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments?
Could you also tell the public what area expertise is your primary, what you started with and what you do now in that area?
We started in 1983. We're a family-owned business, and our primary, the root of what we do is bridge construction. So this is the heart of our workforce. We have other divisions as well, but our main primary focus is for bridge construction, and we specialize in that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
can I
you.
get a motion on G?
Move for approval. Crack the champagne.
Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion second on G3. Everybody please vote when it comes up. Okay, we'll now go to G4.
Item G4, resolution limiting the addition of capital projects to city department work plans without formal approval by the mayor and city council.
As y'all can recall, we had a special committee, the whole meeting 3 weeks ago or so, something like that. This was the heart of the meeting, that we would try to make a commitment to work on those items that have been funded so we can get some things checked off. I asked city manager to put this in a resolution form, and Mr. Garrett, if you will brief us on it.
Thank you, Chairman Clark, members of the City Council. What this resolution does is try to articulate kind of a roadmap for council and staff as we navigate trying to get through this huge list of Tier 1 and Tier 2 projects. It basically says that that staff will focus on those projects first. It also, I think what happens a lot, to be honest, what happens a lot is, and it's understandable, it's happened for my whole career, is a council member will get an idea that comes from a good idea that comes from a constituent, or maybe they got it themselves for a capital project. And they'll say, well, staff, can't you at least do some design work for me? Either use your in-house engineers or some outside folks to help do a few days of design work, so that then we can bring it to council and we can explain what it is. That takes time and effort. And what this resolution will do that I think is the most critical is it says that even project planning on those new ideas wouldn't happen until after the city council approved that. So the big change would be if somebody comes and says, I've got a great idea to, I was going to say build a bridge, but that's probably a bad choice, but to do something, build a building or something. But I need somebody to do some, I need Mr. Huff to do 2 days of erosion control and stormwater design work. What this resolution would say is, well, before we spend any effort of city time or city dollars on something new, we come first through the committee and council first to get direction. Yes, we want to do that, and also what impact that may have on another project in Tier 1 or Tier 2. That's probably the primary thing that it does. Is it tries to, the goal is to allow our current staff, who is working so hard and to try to get these projects done, to focus on those projects first.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the city manager? If not, can I get a motion from the
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion second for G4. If everybody please vote when it comes up. That is approved. Thank you. That will go to council on Monday. I better slow down. I'm going to be finished too soon.
That's okay.
Follow the guests. They get upset if I finish before 6. We'll go to G5, please.
Item G5, resolution amending purchasing policy to temporarily suspend location evaluation criterion for professional and general services.
Good afternoon, Chair Clark, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, Mayor Jones, committee and council members. Chantel McClam, City County Purchasing Director. The item that I'm bringing before you today is a request to temporarily suspend the location evaluation criteria that we are currently placing on procuring professional services and general services. The city policy, the city purchasing policy currently includes required evaluation criteria. So whenever we are bidding out requests for qualifications, which we use for professional services such as engineering, surveying, architecture, also known as RFQs, or requests for proposals, which we use for general services such as your mowing and consulting services, pest control, we are requiring that when those proposals come in, we evaluate utilizing a certain methodology where we put 20% of the total points on location, meaning businesses and vendors located within Winston-Salem or North Carolina would receive the 20%. However, with this 20%, they have to submit certain tax documentation and payment receipts. This has been a challenge for some of our bidders. And so we are proposing that if we suspend this for 1 year and somewhat remove any barriers that for potential bidders, that we would be able to open up the market, have more competition, make the process easier for bidders, and to also to also allow for just a period of time to see if we should keep this location criteria in there, if it's benefiting the city or if it's harming us when it comes to having an open, competitive market.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Ms. Adams?
I think that this, again, is because of where we are, that anything that we can come up with, much like in the Public Works Committee, anything now is on the table, or anything under the table that can get put on the table to help us be able to do the business of the city. I am totally in agreement with collecting the data to see if we end up with more people wanting to come to work or do services with the city. I think it's a good idea. Just like, again, in Public Works with the transportation, they're opening up the state and the feds, things they've never done before, to try to attract people by cutting the application process, streamlining it. So I look at this as an innovative way to streamline in order for us to get the services and businesses that we need to conduct business for the city.
Thank you. Ms. McIntosh?
It seems like every committee or council meeting that we've had over the last several months, we always have a conversation about we don't have the resources, the manpower to get jobs done. Because we're a smaller market, people don't bring the resources into Winston that they do in Charlotte or Raleigh. If you're bidding jobs out in Charlotte or Raleigh, you got a bigger pool to draw from, i.e. there's more competition. So we end up paying more money. And I hate to say this, but I think people have learned to game the system, set up a small shop here and be able to do the business and get the points. So I think this is an excellent way to increase our bang for the buck, to get work done. I do think we need to keep an eye on it and make sure that our local businesses aren't suffering for that. So let's keep an eye on that. But in the short term, I think it increases our ability to get work done.
We do intend to track to ensure that the hope is that we are going to have more local businesses competing. Right now, what I'm hearing from business owners is that the process is too hard.
Yeah.
And we don't want to make it too difficult. We want to have the competitive bids coming in. So hopefully, by removing this small piece temporarily, we'll be able to see if it opens up the market like we think it will.
Great. Ms. Scipio?
Is it possible to remove the complicated criteria that went with the 20% location points, but still give local residents the 20% advantage? But it seems like there was a criteria that went with that was causing the issue.
It was. We are requiring them to provide tax documents and payment receipts. But what we were finding when we did not validate that firms they would have an address located in Winston-Salem, but were not utilizing it. And so hence we had to say, hey, we needed a method to confirm that you are actually doing business in Winston-Salem or in North Carolina. And so I think we probably should just suspend it temporarily and see what happens, and then come back to you all a year from now with information on how well it worked.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Can I get a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion is second on G5. That is approved. Thank you. We'll go to the last item, G6. City Clerk, please read it.
Item G6, authorization to convey 4 city-owned vacant lots located in the Cleveland Avenue neighborhood to Habitat for Humanity of Forsyth County for the purpose of increasing the supply of affordable housing for low and moderate income persons.
Mr. King.
Yep, we covered this yesterday in Mayor Pro Tem's committee. Again, this is a request to convey 4 lots to Habitat to increase our supply of affordable housing in the community. These are 4 lots located in the Northeast Ward on 18th Street and 25th Street. They're vacant lots, they're surplus lots, and we are using the legislation we received from the General Assembly 2 years ago in order to convey these parcels to Habitat for the sum of $1 each, a grand total of $4. And I know George Redd with Habitat is here today, should you have any questions for him.
Okay. Any questions, comments? If not, can I get a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion second on G6. If the committee please vote. Thank you. And that is the last item. Before I adjourn, I do want to make one comment. We changed the meeting arrangements 2 or 3 months ago now. And for what it's worth, I think it makes the Finance Committee better because most of the items that are on here get vetted in another committee. For example, on a water line, the Public Works may be more interested in water capacity and this, that, and the other, and we're more interested in the dollars. So I think it has worked very well, at least from my perspective, that this is the, I guess it's the four blind men and the elephant, but the individual committees kind of look at it a little bit differently, and here we're just kind of looking at dollars and cents. But for what it's worth, I think it's working well.
Good job.
With that, we will stand adjourned. Thank y'all.